All right, everybody. Yesterday I had teased some big news to the show and kind of like the next step forward for the Locked On Avalanche podcast. And I thought I was going to be able to get it to you by Friday, and that's exactly what I am doing. So I think the best way to do it is just to show you. And, I think it's time to bring in a full-time co-host to the show. And if you are a listener of the Locked On Avalanche podcast, you probably know who it is. So instead of just joining me Fridays, joining me every day from here on out is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host. Well, I guess you could say co-host now, Chris Maselli of the Locked On Avalanche podcast. And joining me now and forever into perpetuity. I had mentioned the other day that we're moving into the next phase of the Locked On Avalanche podcast. And for me, that was bringing in a full-time co-host. And there was one person on that list, and that was Kyle, because Kyle's joined me. Well, he's been on every Friday for a while now, but I had you on here and there, just random times, pretty much for the duration of this show. And, we hit it off, from guest spot number one.
Yeah.
When you emailed me saying, "Hey, like the show, would love to come on," had you on, and from then on out, it was just like this brotherhood that was like long lost brothers. And on top of that, I could always rely on you. Like anytime I was like, "Hey, Kai, I want to jump on," you're like, "Yep, let's do it." And I love talking hockey with you, and your Avalanche stuff. And I just thought, I'm over 400 episodes into this thing. Now is the time to kind of maybe move forward and bring in a full-time co-host. So that is where you came in. I threw that idea out to you. You jumped at it. I don't think the smile has been off of your face since then. So welcome aboard, my friend. So we're gonna crush. The audio has dropped. Here we go.
There we go.
See, day one, we're already having issues. The audio is. I was saying, we talk all day anyway about hockey, so this is just going to be like our normal conversations. But
yeah,
this is going to be great. I love that you're here every single day with me.
Yeah, I'm absolutely honored that you came. You're like, "Hey, bud, I got this idea," and I was blown away that you'd come to me with this. Like we've been at this a while. Like it was like the fandom Friday, and then like we did like a couple of those, and then like the COVID shutdown. You're like, "Hey, bro, let's just co-host this thing. We got to talk about this." And like we talk all the time, so
I know.
I don't know how our chemistry is going to work, but we'll give it an old college try.
Well, we even did like a spin-off show that had nothing to do with Locked On, where we got to kind of geek out and talk about Star Wars and comic books and all that other stuff. And then you got into stuff with Belly Up, which you're still doing. So I didn't want to put too much on your plate, but no, you've always been kind of like a go-to for me. And I'm like, it wasn't that tough a decision for me to say like, no, bring him on full time, because you are as passionate about the Avalanche as anybody that I know, and honest too, and not just a fanboy who doesn't, even if they're playing horribly, doesn't try to sugarcoat things, and that's what I think is good for people who listen. So and that's what we try to do. We don't even, I remember, I go back to the earlier this season when Landeskog got suspended. Neither one of us were sitting here like, that shouldn't have happened, that's BS. Like, no, like it probably should have. I flipped on that because, like, once again, Department of Player Safety is just, completely. I have no clue what's going on with them. So I thought they were starting off on the right foot with the Landeskog suspension, but they've proven me wrong.
Yeah, they gave up. They used all their.
Yeah,
They're at their quota. They're done. They're on cruise control.
Yeah. So, so if you are watching on YouTube right now, you can see Kyle's Twitter handle on the bottom of the screen. You can follow him on that. And you can follow the Avalanche show, Locked On Avalanche show, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Send emails to lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And of course, follow the show's YouTube channel. So happy to have you on board. And let's jump into some stuff, some Avalanche news before we get into tomorrow, which is a very big game against the Montreal. That's the next day. Toronto is the first game. I wanted to bring up Patrick Waugh because his name is getting brought up about being a GM in some capacity to the Montreal Canadiens. We all know how that went down and how, he unceremoniously left and was traded to the Avalanche. We were the beneficiaries of that. Going back to, if he does, to Montreal is kind of weird because of the way he left. But I threw this up on Twitter saying, like, the way he left the Avalanche as a coach was because he felt like he wasn't getting enough say in player personnel decisions. And he wanted more of a say. And Sakic, has the end decision. He's the end decision maker. And it was enough for Watt to say, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to have more control. Okay, fine. If that's what you want, I wish you would have done it earlier and not, it's a month before the season started.
Yeah.
So now the rumors are that he's interested in this Montreal job. But my question is where he's going. Jeff Gorton has been named a number of positions, one of which is general manager. So if they hired Waugh, he would be behind him, below him, where he wouldn't have the final say in player personnel decisions. So the exact reason he left the Avalanche, he's possibly, maybe, going to Montreal to again not have the final say in player personnel decisions. Is that a little bit confusing to you? I don't get it.
Honestly, if you would have asked me this question about a year ago, I would have said that there's no chance that he would never do this. But the timeline of events has been, the writing's been on the wall that this is going to happen for a while. If you remember, I think it was just a couple months ago when he signed an agent and made it public, like, I would like to get back into the front office in some capacity. Montreal was hitting their run into the playoffs at that time. So those stories kind of went away. You kind of thought, oh, nothing's happening to Bergevin. Like, it's fine. But then they cleaned house. Yeah. And it was on that playoff run. They honored Patrick Waugh, and he was in the building. And after that, when his playing days, when he got shelled and said, this is my last day in a Montreal uniform, you thought he was never going back. But there he was in the middle of a playoff run getting honored. And you're like, wait a minute, something's up here. And sure enough, like, his name's at the top of the list. And is this his way of getting back in Montreal and, like, trying to make it work? Because he can speak French, and that is his upper hand on a lot of other names that are floating around for these positions, because Gorton can't.
Right. I don't think he can. As far as I know, he can. But that's the interesting part is, like, first of all, I thought Waugh was wanting to get back into the NHL in a coaching capacity. He's never done anything GM wise in the NHL. The only position he ever held in the NHL was with the Avalanche as a head coach and did a very good job. So I thought he was going to want to jump back in as a head coach. To want to move up from that to a GM, okay, guys have done it. I mean, look at what Sakic's done. But now he's whatever. He's done a masterful job. But I think this is because things I'm hearing is, I don't think it's long term for Gorton to have this position, and they wanted to bring someone in, maybe like Waugh, to groom him and then Gorton can step aside if he stays with the Canadians, if he goes to a higher position, and then that person can take it over. Then I can see Waugh being okay with, not having those final says for a couple of years, maybe 2-3 years at the most, and then he takes over. But I could not see Patrick Waugh accepting this position if he does, knowing that there's no end game for when he takes over. He's going to want to know right off the bat that I am taking this over in X amount of years. And if it's not a short amount of time, I don't think he takes it, because I think his ego is on full display, and he is not going to sit around for any more than I think than 2 or 3 years before he's given full reins of this thing.
And I thought that he would want to get back into the coaching foray and get back to what he knows. But after you saw both like GM and coach be selected for Seattle, and a couple other moves have been made, and there are coaches on the hot seat right now that haven't been made for that call for Waugh, which tells me that he's holding out. Like he could have taken that Seattle job. Either he could have been in the front office or behind the bench, and they would have given him the world. That shows me Patrick Waugh is very selective on where he wants to go.
Yeah. So I know he was in the running for the New York Ranger job.
Exactly.
He was.
So I think their hiring of Gorton to kind of train Patrick Waugh is showing this like mutual like interest between the two. They want Waugh to be successful. They want Gorton to help him understand how things go in that role, and then turn Gorton back to television, and then we have the evil empire once again in Montreal.
And I say his ego is on full display. I don't think it's that inflated where he thinks that he can just jump into a GM position and run the show. So he might be looking at it as like, this is the perfect opportunity for me to not be the guy that has that final say, learn for a couple years, and then I can take it over in full. So it might be set up nice for him to go that route. But being, it's just one of those things. He's always going to be a Canadian. He's always going to be an Av. So you follow him wherever he goes. And is it one of those things where you're going to root for him if he does take this job? I mean, they're not in our conference. They're on the East Coast. Do you just keep an eye on what's going on in Montreal if he gets this position?
Well, the way that he left Colorado has a lot to do with that. I think a lot of Avalanche fans are torn. Like, he's done so much as a player, but also done so much as a coach. It also brought into the advent of Bednar. There's a lot of mixed emotions when it comes to Patrick Waugh amongst Avalanche fans. Like, you like him as Waugh the player, but Waugh the man in the suit, you're not a big fan of.
Well, you were until he left.
Yeah, true.
So there's so much. You're right. There's so much stuff going on in Avalanche fans' heads when it comes to him, how he left. So be interesting to watch. I think we'll probably hear something relatively soon. They're gonna have to make a decision on this pretty soon. So, all right. Getting back to the guy who calls the shots for the Avalanche. Could they be in the market for Jake DeBrusk, who has asked for a trade from the Boston Bruins? We'll talk about that. But first, we are going to hear from Primal Origin Oils. And this is stuff that I can definitely talk about because it's beard care. So if you or someone you care about has a beard, it needs to get Primal. Maybe you're that guy who has never considered the benefits of treating your beard with a product. And Primal or Origin Oils will stop the itch and make your beard look healthy and groomed. Their goal is to help others look good and live healthier lives through the use of natural oils. The products are free from harmful synthetic ingredients and with a low impact on our planet. Primal Origin makes balms, oils, and whipped butter that are renowned as the best feel and beard products available. This is due to the exotic carrier blends with oils like raspberry seed, rosehip, and chia seed oils. All products are fair trade certified and handcrafted in the USA. So check out primaloriginoils.com to learn more about their full line of beard care products. Use the promo code LOCKEDON to get 20% off at checkout. And their combo kits make a great holiday gift. If you're shopping for yourself, you will be glad that you did. And I can attest to The importance of beard oils and beard balms, because I have a lot of people say like, I want to grow one, and then it gets all itchy, and I'm like, well, do you use anything for it? And they're like, no. And I say, well, that's why it's itchy. You need to put stuff in that bad boy. You put beard oil or beard balm in your beard, in a day or two, your itch is gone.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff's going on underneath there, and you're getting like dry skin, and it's uncomfortable. And people just shave it off right away. Don't do that. Beard balms, beard oils, itch goes away, and you look awesome on top of it. All right. Also brought to you by Built Bar, and the holiday season is here, is it not, Kyle?
You can hear it everywhere you go.
Are you getting your Christmas shopping done? Is it in the process? Where do you stand with that?
We are in the process.
You're in the process. All right. Built Bars, great stocking stuffers, man.
Yes, they are.
You know what I mean? So we talk about Built Bar all the time on this show. And there's always some good flavors coming out. They just came out with a brand new one. They came out with these they call them Built Bar Puffs that are like a marshmallowy texture to them. If you kind of like the marshmallow, are you a marshmallow fan or not?
Oh yeah.
Are you? Because I'm not a big marshmallow fan, but again, Built Bar does something where everything they make is fantastic tasting. Even me, who doesn't like marshmallows, I can eat these things. They're really, really good. So definitely head over to built.com. Use the promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off of your order. Built Bars, they're the perfect stocking stuffer for the holiday season. All right. Jake DeBrusk has asked for a trade from the Boston Bruins. Avalanche, it seems like the Avalanche are interested in everybody, as they should be. They're a hockey team. They should be, checking everybody off on the list who's available. Do you think that they're thinking about this and entertaining this? Like I said, it seemed like they were interested in him not that long ago. Things have soured for him in Boston. And like I talked about a couple weeks ago when Vegas acquired Eichel, and does that force the Avalanche hand to make a move just to keep up with the Joneses? I guess. I mean, teams do that just to make a deal because the people above them have made a deal. Where do you stand on this? The Avs do this, or how much do they entertain it?
Honestly, if you would have asked me this last year, there might have been a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, you went in with the knowledge of the expansion draft looming. You knew that you were going to lose somebody. DeBrusk would be a good plug and play guy. I mean, he's a winger, so you just you would roll with that. Just you're losing Donskoy or Jost or whoever in that draft. We'll plug in DeBrusk. That'll be fine. This year, I don't know if that's the option that we want to go with. We now just have the offense going where we need it to go.
Right.
They finally got their flow and they're working together. Is adding a Jake DeBrusk going to benefit? It's not like he doesn't have veteran experience. When you hear Boston Bruins, you think cups and dominance and almost like an empire. DeBrusk wasn't a part of that. Like he played for the Bruins, but he wasn't part of that dominant Bruins team that we know.
But he was expected to be like the next wave of Boston Bruin. And he started off good. He started off with a really good career, really good foundation. His numbers have decreased since then. And when that happens, he's only 25 years old. It's one of those things, or could it be one of those things where he just needs to get out of there and get into a new environment, and where he can, he can fit somewhere better. Is that Colorado? I don't know. It's not Boston like that. It's almost like that ship has sailed. There's no coming back from the relationship between him and everybody in the front office and behind the bench. A move is going to be made, and both sides were like, it wasn't like he came out and said, I'm requesting a trade, and the Bruins have been silent. The Bruins are like, fine, we'll find, like, I think we're at the end of this relationship. So he's going to be moved. And I think, it'll be interesting to watch wherever he goes, if he just comes back to life, because when you're that young, And every year your numbers have gone down, it can mess with you mentally. And I don't follow this situation all that much, but I'm willing to guess that's a part of all of this and why he wants out.
We also have to realize that every player that demands for a trade or is getting ready to move, we're not going to make into Valeri Nichushkin.
Right.
The same situation. He needed a change of scenery. He was 2 years without a goal in Dallas and came over, and he is a efficient part of our
Oh, he's
lineup.
huge. Right.
Heart and soul, and gets you those dirty goals you need. When it comes to people asking for a trade, if you would ask me if I want Jake DeBrusk or Vladimir Tarasenko, I would have rather taken Tarasenko with
Oh, I
the
would
health
have. Yeah.
problems
Absolutely.
and
Right.
everything. I would have
Yeah.
taken Tarasenko. DeBrusk, it's hard to think of him fitting in this offense the way we do.
I can see him fitting in. I definitely can. But like you're saying, like, do you want to upset where we see the Avalanche heading?
Yeah.
That is the question. That is a question that you have to ask. You're saying like if this had been brought up last year during the off season, you would
Yes.
have entertained it. Even if the way the season started, if the Avalanche wanted to make a knee jerk move, you might have entertained this.
Yeah.
But this is, and that goes to even where the Avalanche are now. Joe Sakic doesn't make knee jerk reactions because he might have made this move if DeBrusk was available, a month ago. So in that capacity, you might not see Sakic jump on this. And it would all, again, depend on what he has to give up. And I don't want to get into that because who knows what the hell I have to give up. But he was in on Eichel.
Yeah.
He wanted Eichel. And
Yeah.
the numbers just didn't work out. The salary is way too much for the Avalanche to take on right now. DeBrusk's is a third of what Eichel's is. So if you can make the money work, if you don't have to give up a heck of a lot, because he is a free agent after this season, he's restricted, but he is a free agent. So that's another contract that you have to, if you want to re-sign him, to sign him. And what are the Avalanche doing with every single move that they make? They have their eye on a couple years from now when they have to sign Nathan McKinnon and Bo Byram. So you have to take all of that into consideration right now. And I don't envy Joe Sakic.
And what you have to think about right now, we're about to go into a game against Toronto with Nathan McKinnon returning, and we have Comfort returning as well. And we're now talking about who do we lose out of the lineup now with already established Colorado Avalanche players returning to this roster.
Yeah.
I don't think adding DeBrusk helps that at all. Like, you have your core. It's not like there's a glaring need. Like, these lines will produce at, granted, sporadic times. You don't know which line is going to go hot each night, but I don't think adding a single player, like if we would have had the chance to bring him through preseason and training camp where he could see how things work and gets to know how Nathan is and knows how to pass to Miko, I think that would have been a better opportunity for DeBrusk to join the Avalanche. But right now, as everything's starting to click and Nathan's returning, we got JT coming back. Like, I don't
Where's
know
he
if this
fit?
is I don't know if this is the time. And what if he comes in and then everything goes back to how it was at the beginning of the season? And then everybody's like, we should have never got DeBrusk. And then somebody who wanted to leave Boston now wants to leave Colorado. We don't need that going on right now.
I mean, if he were to come in, and everybody's healthy, the top six is solidified.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd be in a bottom six position. But you're right. Like, who would he take over for? You have someone like Abu Kubel who's playing well since he's come over. And do you want to upset that? But he, that's an example of someone who just came over and just performed well from the minute he hit the ice. Why wouldn't DeBrusk be able to do that same? Why wouldn't he be able to replicate what he's been able to? So, and especially on a bottom six role, you're not getting thrown into the second line and expected to produce immediately. You can ease your way in. You're not getting a ton of minutes right off the bat. I wouldn't be against it. I would not be against it. I'm not, but the only reason I feel like the Avs might have pause is because he is a restricted free agent and he's making in between 3 and 4 right now. But because his production's gone down, if you do re-sign him, it really shouldn't be an increase. You know what I mean? You're not going to have to go pay him 4.5, 5 next year because the production has gone down. So maybe you just sign him to a couple year deal. I'm sure these are conversations that Joe Sakic is having with his team. But I like guys like this. I like guys that have all of this potential and you've seen glimpses of it. And then they start to sour on the team and they just want out. Like Nichushkin. I mean, you sometimes guys just need a change of scenery. And I think this is DeBrusk to a T. And I would go after it if I was a Colorado Avalanche, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I think it would improve your team.
I think he will if you're going to swap out like a Burakovsky and like make that weird adjustment there. Like the only thing with me is that contract. He's not that caliber of player. Like we did the same kind of move with Theo Fleury, and he was up on that deal, but he's that caliber of player that you make that rental move for. Like he's not going to be here. You're going to evaluate him in that time, but that's a tall task to ask for somebody whose production is steadily declining at this point. And it's a huge gamble that do the Avalanche make right now? Injuries have been a problem for us. Production's been a problem starting out the year. Is this the answer to both like health problems? I don't know. Adding to production, possibly, but it's a huge gamble. And I don't know if we make it right now. If we do, I'm interested to see what pieces go back to Boston.
Yeah.
Is it going to be one of these pieces that we finally got going and added value? Be like maybe like Abakubal or any like Jost, like they're good now with us.
Yeah.
Like and it would really hurt losing those pieces now. If you asked me at the beginning of the year, wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah. So I love this stuff. This is the stuff that I get excited about is, movement in teams and where you fit into all of it, if at all. So definitely something that I'll be keeping an eye on because if I'm the Avalanche, I do it. I try to, if it works, you just don't do it. Like Vegas just does whatever they want to do. And I don't know how they make it work. The Avs have a plan. And if this fits in within their plan, I think it's a pretty smart move. So that's where I stand. All right. We'll hear from Bet Online and then I talked about Nathan MacKinnon yesterday, but he's our superstar. So I want Kyle to get his opinion on what he's thinking Nathan MacKinnon's going to do when he finally comes back. So, which is today. So Bet Online has you covered all season for more prop bets, odds, and lines than ever before as the football season marches on and the playoffs right around the corner. Bet Online remains your number one spot for all these sports action this season. Head to the new updated desktop or mobile device websites and sign up today to receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use the promo code Locked On to receive your bonus from basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and UFC right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports. It's where the games start. It's betonline.ag. So I had talked about Nathan MacKinnon yesterday and his return. It's exciting. It's exciting when you're playing well. You know what? It's exciting no matter what. If you were playing poorly and you're getting a guy of Nathan MacKinnon's caliber back, you're happy because you're like, all right, now we got our star back and, we can start like producing more. If you're playing well, it's like, join the parade, MacKinnon, hop on board and let's just continue this trend. So that's where the Avalanche are right now. And it couldn't be at a better point because you are going up against the team who is just as hot as you are in Toronto. I'm, everybody's over the moon that he's returning. I talked yesterday about what I expect from him and how I think he knows that this team can win obviously without him. So he doesn't have to come in and command the puck and just be the guy that controls the game. but he's Nathan MacKinnon, and he will do that to some capacity. If he sees an opportunity, he's going to take it. What do you think that's my take on it. Where do you think he's coming in from sitting back and watching this team for 3 weeks?
Well, he only contributed to 8 games so far this year. 8. We have played 18. We have played more without him than with him. Nathan MacKinnon should know right now this team can work. They've made up for his absence. He should trust this team. A lot of what Nathan MacKinnon does as a leader is when you're out there, if you're not passing right, he's going to let you know. Mm-hmm. If you're not taking the shot, he's in Berkey's ear. We've seen that many times. He'll get in his ear. You need to shoot more.
Right.
He's been watching this team. He knows they can produce. That takes everything off of him. And all we need Nathan MacKinnon to do is be Nathan MacKinnon.
Yeah.
And you're on, Wednesday night hockey versus the Maple Leafs. It's your trendy Nathan MacKinnon, Austin Matthews. Like, it's that matchup. We just need you to get out there and get back to business. We're not asking you to go out there and score a hat trick, get 4 goals. Just be productive. You only got 1 goal in your 8 games, but you have 10 points, which means he's being unselfish. He trusts this team. Just get out there and do what you do. That's all we're asking of you. And like, we've seen this team catch fire and really get together without him. Adding Nathan MacKinnon to this monster we got going right now, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah. I think he's going to take the first, 5-10 minutes of the first period to settle in and just, get back into that game mode. I'm looking forward to, maybe even give him the whole first period. I'm looking forward to what he does in the second period.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where I think he's going to, all right, I got my legs back. I got just the speed of the game down. And he probably doesn't need the first period, but I think he just wants to not, maybe whatever his injury was, it was lower body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just take a couple of hits on that, even though he's been practicing. Game modes are different. Take a couple of hits on that. Okay. Things are okay. And then I'm looking forward to his second period, because I think that's where he's going to take. You say we're not expecting 4 goals from him. You might get 4 goals from him tomorrow, because he is looking to get back into the flow of things. All of his teammates, Kadri, Confer was, he got injured, obviously. Rantanen's come around. Cale Makar is being a beast. Mm-hmm. He wants a part of that action.
Yeah.
He is not a guy that is just going to sit back and let all his teammates do the work and pile up the points. He wants in on that too. So, yeah, is he going to score 4 goals? You can never predict that, but he's damn going to try.
And it's that mentality that Nathan MacKinnon can join the team with. Like, he gets mad and frustrated and like uses up all the gas in his tank because he feels like if he's not producing, they're not going to win. Like, you can see it. Like, the more the game goes on, the more, if they're down, you see he just gets more and more frustrated that if I'm not the one scoring, we're not going to win. He now can see that, like, Cale's on fire. Like, he's taking confident shots. Mm-hmm. Nas is in there. You got Gabe doing Gabe things, defending everybody. Nathan MacKinnon can just go in there and do what he has to do, get off the ice, and believe that if it's not me, Cale will take up for me. Nas will take up for me. Nuke, he'll get those dirty goals and get us right back in this. It's not all on me. And that pressure off of him, you might get 4 goals by accident.
Yeah, you want that mentality of like, I want to take over the game, but you also have to know that you can't do it all the time. And if they just have my number tonight, let me find other ways to facilitate. And I think sometimes Nathan MacKinnon has the mindset, he has that, I have the tiger mentality where like, I still can take over. Even though they're shutting me down, I still can figure out a way to take over. And that's good to have. And sometimes you can do that because you're making adjustments on the fly. But there's other times where you have to say like, okay, what else can I do? Rather than me be the man, what else can I do? And I have Cale Makar back there. God, that's a nice safety net to have. You know what I mean? I have obviously Miko, who him and I have just this unbelievable connection. You know, and I think to come to that realization a little bit earlier than try to push every single shift that you're out there when you don't have it for that night, there's nothing wrong with that because you have a deep team and feed those guys. And I think you see a little bit of that because he does have 10 or no, is it 10? No.
9 assists.
9 assists. And you saw that the beginning of last season. He had a ton of assists beginning of last season. And then the goals will come around. I got no issue on him scoring goals. That it's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. I'm excited to see how he jumps in with this team that's been playing so well without him. I think he's anxious to, like I said, get in there and put his stamp on how this team is playing so well. But he's a dog out there. Like he wants to go. And I don't think you're going to be able to stop him doing that. You just want him to be a little bit more controlled sometimes when he does it.
I feel he's going to do good tonight against Toronto, but then he's going to catch his legs, and I feel bad for Montreal.
Yeah, man. I agree with you. Because if you saw those clips from practice, he that's practice, man. And he's going, he's running into walls.
Yeah, and Montreal's a better matchup for us in the long run anyway. So if we could get through Toronto with a win, Montreal, Nathan's coming for you.
You're in trouble. So, all right, everybody. Well, we will be back tomorrow to talk about how the game against Toronto went down. And Shaggy Von Doon will be joining me for that because he's going to be on every single episode from here on out. Well, you are moving too, so I don't know if you might miss an episode here or there within the move.
I'll broadcast from the Penske truck.
All right, so we'll figure all that out. But he is here to stay, so get used to that face. Yeah, all right. Glad you're here, man. Love to have you here.
It's an honor to be here.
That'll be it for today, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and making it your first listen of the day. Definitely go check out Locked On NHL to get all the updates. They probably have some updates on DeBrusk as we speak. So head on over there and make that your second listen of the day. So that's going to be it for us. We'll be back to discuss some Maple Leafs and Avalanche. Hopefully a solid showing and ends up with a W for the A's. So thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.